So it's Friday. I'm here with the professor. Just going to get one more day in before the weekend. Then we're going to try to hit the range, do a little bit more training at the range. If it's not too windy, we've just been hit with massive amounts of wind the last months, I guess, couple months. It's windy every day. But just talking about inflation today briefly before we get a workout in, Professor brought up a really good point. Inflation, what's going on?
Yeah, well, JB's the pro. I just saw yesterday that Jerome Powell didn't increase the you know what is that, the
Wednesday.
Wednesday
yeah.
He didn't increase the interest rate. So I just thought, and it said inflation is under control. It from a year ago it was like 8 point something, and now it's 4.05. And I was telling JB, I was like, but I'm confused because when I go to my store, when I go to put gas, when I go to the store to buy groceries, all of those prices are still inflation prices, but yet we're half supposedly.
Yeah, everything's half down from a year ago.
Yeah, we're half.
But everything's elevated and going up.
Yeah, so my point is, like, shouldn't that logically mean that the inflation, or if inflation is half of what it was a year ago, shouldn't that logically mean the prices should be coming back down? And it doesn't look like that's the case. I'd be surprised if the prices did come back down, and that just doesn't make sense to me. I was telling JB, make it make sense, man.
Yeah, it's hard to make sense but it goes back to how much of the data is real.
That's my first thought.
And you said that many times, but how much of the data is real? How much of it's manipulated? We look at the job numbers, and there's a whole discrepancy there with the job numbers that we added. Last month was it 396,000 or 392,000, whatever the number was. Yet other organizations are saying that we lost jobs. So is the data correct? Is the data real, or is the data manipulated? And I'm beginning to really believe that a lot of this data is extremely manipulated as far as employment, the housing numbers, the job numbers, the health of the economy, even the debt. So I think there's a lot we're not being told, because I went to Winco the other day, which is a huge grocery chain out here, a discount store, and I'm blown away with how much prices continue to rise. Costco the other day, I went there, a continuation of prices rising. Yes, big screen TVs, you can get a great deal on them. You can get a great deal on some appliances. That's come down. They're saying gasoline's down 20%. Okay, well, that's all great, but the rest of the stuff seems to keep going up.
I think, like, in my opinion, like, stores don't lie. Like, I'm not saying what we're being told is a lie. I try to believe in the U.S., but my eyes, like, your
checkbook doesn't lie, right?
Yeah. I'm looking at like, what reason would Winco have to lie and raise their prices? Like, why would they raise their prices if things are exactly the same, or things are going back down as far as Costco? Why wouldn't they then logically say, well, let me drop my prices? So that's what I mean when I talk about prices. It's not that I think prices are going up and that sucks. It's because it's that I think something doesn't match. Like, if we are down half of what we were a year ago, why aren't prices dropping? I don't think there's a coincidence, because, again, I don't think Winco, Costco, I don't think they have any reason
to gouge
you.
Yeah.
I mean, they're discount stores, so their whole purpose is to have you shop there and save money. So they would help. I believe they'd help you save money if they could.
Yeah.
So
now, I will say that I think there are companies that will gouge you on purpose. But I think, I think like the Wincos, the Costcos, they're doing everything in their power to keep as much of this under control so that people can shop there. Now, probably 6, 7, 8 months ago, I did a video. I asked the cashier, how many people at the Winco are using government subsidies to pay for their grocery bills? She said over half.
Wow.
And I said, are you kidding me? And she said, it's probably around over 70%. Between 70, 75%, she said, in all reality. It's definitely over 50%. She says it's probably closer to 70, 75%. People using food stamps, government subsidies at Winco to pay for their food. So yeah, there are going to be companies that continue to gouge. They're doing that right now. But I think there are good companies out there trying to do everything to alleviate some of the pressure. But I'm not seeing prices really come down on anything. And the next question is, Are we ever going to see prices come down, or is this the new normal?
Well, and another interesting thing is, just speaking about California, because that's where I'm at in Palm Desert, California. But it's hard to imagine the prices dropping as well, because wages have went so high, right? So it's like now I like, even if the inflation is going down, and you can explain a little bit better on this,
but real wages are down 26 straight months.
Oh, wow.
So they are not even keeping up with what we're seeing at the store. Real wages down 26 straight months.
I just read that an article talking about how AT&T, I don't know if you read this, AT&T was dropping, they were gonna be letting go. It was saying like over 20,000 employees, because they were forcing people to come back to work and putting it into specific positions. But anyway, I just saw it this morning, man. I was just reading it this morning. So,
okay. Oh wow.
you got to check out. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But and my point is that was talking about they're forcing people in all over the U.S. to go to these specific offices, and if they can't make it to those offices, now this is, mind you, people who have worked remotely and moved places, bought houses in places remotely because they were allowed to work remotely, and AT&T is saying, hey, now you got to come back to the office in these 9 areas or these 9 regions in the U.S. If you can't make it to the office in those areas, you have 2 choices. You can either find another career or make arrangements to move closer to those, but there's no exception. You have to come or you lose your job.
So that's a serious dilemma, because if they go, okay, we'll sell our house, we're gonna come back to work. How do you sell your house now that you just bought recently, that now sales are collapsing? The mortgage rate that you got a couple years ago at under 3% now is 7+%.
You might not be able to sell that house as quickly as you think either.
Right, and if you do, you got closing costs, agent fees, things like that. So you are probably, if you bought a house within the last year or 2, you're upside down, and so you're gonna have to write a check to get out, and that's if you can find a buyer now at 7-8% on a 30-year. So that's a huge dilemma for people, and that's going to continue to happen more. So any words today as we head into the weekend? What's on your mind?
Yeah, just. Train.
Your channel's doing nice?
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to your channel.
Check out my channel. It's under my name, Elias Ramirez III. So it's going to be, I'm going to drop a new video today. So it's just talking about, for me, training, keeping your body strong, keeping everything in line with being able to protect yourself in a self-defense situation. So some cool videos on there. Hope you like them. But other than that, what's going to be on my mind is going to the range and training with JB to also not only keep my body right, but keep my mind right, keep everything ready to go, and to make sure that, like JB says, I'm one of the, if not the toughest guy in the room to have anything happen to. So.
Yeah, you want to be the hardest person in the room to kill. And that's why we're at the range, we're here, we're at the gym, just always trying, like, could I do more? Absolutely. Could I eat better? Absolutely. We're all guilty of maybe not doing enough, but we're doing something today, right? We're doing something this weekend. So, put a little food away, do some training, get into jiu-jitsu. Really quick, I watched a very concerning video yesterday. It was older. It was another one of these subway videos. A little Asian man was assaulted, and this dude just beat him and beat him and beat him. And somebody had put it on Facebook yesterday, and I watched it. It was an older video, but it just brought me back to, again, what we're seeing take place daily. It's not just subways. It's happening at malls. It's happening in front of people's houses. It's happening at parks. It's happening everywhere. And I just could not believe the cruelty of a human being who outweighed this guy probably by 40, 50 pounds. And this guy was beaten down, and he just didn't stop, just relentless, and nobody helped. And I said yesterday, if you get into a situation, don't expect anybody to come and rescue you. It's going to take, you're going to be on your own. You're not going to be able to grab your phone and call the police. People aren't probably going to call the police for you because they're too busy filming you getting a beating. So I can't emphasize enough that you work on your security, that you work on self-defense, that you're on the mat this weekend, this week, that you're getting out, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, which I think is the best. Any words of advice? Because you've been watching these videos too, and it's alarming.
Yeah, I just speaking on what you said, my wife is Asian, so my kids, I have 2, a son and a daughter, are both Asian, half Asian, and so that hits home for me, man. I won't give my daughter or son an option to train jujitsu. Not because, if they come up to me and they, at whatever age and say, Daddy, I'm a little tired. It's not that I want to make them do something that they don't want to do. It's that I have a bigger responsibility and know what the future holds. They don't, right? I can control what happens to my son and daughter when they become adults and go into life. They don't know what's best for them. So I'm going to do what's best for them. Being that they're half Asian, I'm going to make sure that they don't ever, or if they are discriminated against, they can protect themselves. If you have, I mean, you don't have to be a minority in order to get your kids involved. It can be anybody. I was watching another video talking about you, an older video as well, but not as old, maybe a few weeks ago, about a cheerleader being picked on by a much bigger girl.
I saw that
Did you
one.
watch that one? And the cheerleader, the much bigger girl, put her finger in her face. She was very calm. She was sitting down at a table, pushed her finger away, said, "Don't put your finger in my face." Then the bigger girl pushed her head. She got up and defended herself. And then I was reading everything about what happened, and it was an off-school event. So the cheerleader didn't get in trouble at all, because when they saw the video, they realized she was actually just defending herself. So get your kids involved with something to protect them. It's your responsibility. They don't know better. It's your responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, kids don't understand the dangers out there. And you could be anybody. It doesn't matter what color you are, what religion you are, male, female, anything in between. Look, there's some very, very evil people out there, and they don't give 2 cents about you. People will rob you for $1. They're doing things like this now for laughs, for entertainment, and it's absolutely shocking. The lawlessness that we see, people have no morality, no conscience, so they're hurting kids, they're hurting adults, they're hurting animals. There's a lot of evil out there. So, I think it's so important to be a good person, walk close to God, train as much as you can, prepare yourself, hope and pray to God that you are never in a situation. And the best way to win a fight is to avoid a fight. Walk away. If you see trouble on the other side of on this side of the street, walk across the street. If you're in a store, in a restaurant, and you see trouble, just get up and leave. Avoid it at all costs. The problem is now when somebody doesn't allow you to walk away, when somebody goes hands-on, then this is when you better have some training. And I've said this time and time again, I think you're going to agree, Professor, that if we were walking down the street and somebody grabbed us, we're not going to be in shock. We're not going to panic, because people put our hands on us daily, with you every day, me 2-3 days a week, but it's not a shock. So I'm more callous to confrontation and just a physical challenge, because that's what we do here. The person who is not physically challenged, the person who's not used to having somebody grab them, what are they going to do? They're going to be a victim. They're not going to be able to do anything because they have no training whatsoever. And it's so important right now to get your kids involved. If you have 2 arms, 2 legs, you need to be doing this stuff. And don't make the excuse that you're in bad shape. That's why you should be here. If you're in bad shape, that's even more of a reason why you need to be doing stuff like this. So that if somebody puts hands on you or your kids, you're not going to panic. You're going to be able to deal with the situation. And I think that jiu-jitsu is one of the best ways to deal with confrontation. I'm going to leave it there.
I think going on what you said, I think if you're in bad shape, I think that makes you a target.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're in the last thing somebody who wants to do that wants to do harm would want is to see a person walking around that carries themselves with confidence, looks like they're in shape, looks like they do something that could potentially give them a tough time to commit the crime they want to commit. So if you're out of shape, if you're smaller, right, those should be the times that should be the reasons why you train jiu-jitsu, to try to remove yourself from the victim pool as far as targets go.
And we said too, it's not always about just winning. It's about just surviving and just maybe making enough distance so that you can break loose, run, get to your phone, get into your house, get to the car, whatever. It's not always about staying there and trying to win a fight. Sometimes it's just about breaking loose and just making distance and running and just getting out of a bad situation. So it's just things to think about. But you cannot be one-dimensional today and just go, well, I have some food and water put away and I have some silver coins, so I'm going to be okay. It's not going to be enough. You have to be so well-rounded today. You have to be walking the walk. You know, a couple friends of mine invited me down to the beach this weekend, and you know, as fun as the beach is, and I used to live down there, it's more important to be here on Friday training. It's more important to be at the range on Sunday training, and then back here on Monday training. This is my life. I'm always training. And I think that you don't have to train every day, but you have to be proactive now doing something, because the amount of crime that we're seeing take place and the manipulation of this economy, and when the economy completely implodes, crime is going to be so out of control. You're seeing the warning signs right now every day with the crime that you're seeing. What if we do get hit by a cyber attack? They're telling you right now, cyber attacks are coming. They're telling you right now that we're not prepared for grid attacks, that we don't have the terminals, that if the lights go out, you could be on your own for weeks, maybe months. So they're warning you right now. They're telling you daily about food crisis, almost 1,200 train derailments, 1,000 food processing plants burned to the ground in the last year. What more do you need to open up your eyes? So I think you need to be training every way, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, every way possible with the remaining time that you have, because you don't know what tomorrow brings. You don't know what we're going to wake up to next week. And so take the time. Time is an incredible asset, but time is running out, and time is not your friend. So use this asset of time, be as proactive as possible so that you can react and be proactive when you need to be, because things are going to go absolutely, they're going to spiral out of control, ladies and gentlemen. And that's not to alarm you. Well, it is to alarm you. And it is to scare you, because when you're alarmed, when you get a little nervous, when you get scared, you take action. And there's too many people right now not taking action, especially people with kids. This economy has never been in the trouble that we're seeing it right now. We've never been in a time like this. We are in uncharted waters, and to go into this, into an implosion, a global depression, completely out of shape, dependent on pharmaceuticals, not walking close to God, having no assets, no cash, nothing but debt, you're going to be in big trouble. I'm telling you right now, I'm warning you all right now. Get right. You need to get ready, because this is, we're going to wake up one day and people are going to go, what just happened? And those are going to be the people that are going to lose. The people that just ask what happened. You know what happened. You know what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. So you need to be getting ready. I'm going to let the professor close it out.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before on JB's video, but I would just say, like, use your eyes, and use the things, like, use your own ears, and or maybe not even the ears, because sometimes when you listen to things, it can lead you the wrong way.
It's hard to believe what you see now, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't believe everything you see.
I mean, but I mean, trust your instinct. What you're seeing, like, I try not to listen to anything that's going on in the news. I'm not saying I don't read the news to try to keep myself educated, but I look and see, when I start seeing gas prices going down, when I start seeing my grocery bill go down, when I start seeing all the things that I knew used to be lower a couple of years ago go down, then I'll start to believe the things that I see on the news. Until then, be ready.
Right. You know, and the thing is, they can say, oh, it's down from a year ago. Start looking at prices where they were 2 years ago, and start comparing prices from two years ago to today.
That's when we moved here.
Yeah, and it's absolutely out of this world. Look, the BRICS nations are forming. There's going to be a new money system. Gold is going to back that money. China is going to be the world superpower. I hate to say that. That scares me to death. But we are too far gone. We are too far morally gone. We are too far financially gone. We have a country now that has gotten so soft, so lazy, so dependent on free money, dependent on the pharmaceuticals, dependent on somebody else paying their bills. And that's why this country is in big trouble, and why we're probably going to fall, unfortunately. Look, I'm praying, and I'm hoping that it's going to turn around. We're not there yet. Maybe a miracle will take place. Maybe God will step in and a miracle will take place. But it will only be through that this country is saved. Otherwise, China and the BRICS nations are taking over with a new money system. Look at the GDP that those countries have right now. Look at their manufacturing right now of those BRICS nations. Look at the energy they produce. It's very sad for me to say this today on this Friday, but we are, I think, at a point of no return. So get ready and prepare the best you can. If you can live somewhere outside of the city, that's another option that I think you need to be thinking about. Getting out of states like this, another option, which I'm trying to do and will do. These are all things we need to be thinking about right now. Are you in the right state? Are you in the right town? Do you have the right friends around you? Really quick, friends. Friends are so important as we head into this implosion. You better be surrounded with the right people, not just talkers, not people that will stab you in the back, not people that have no assets or bring something to the table, skill sets. You want people that, doctors, nurses, people in law enforcement, people that know how to fix cars, people who are good in construction, plumbing, people that bring something to the table, and people who are awake, who also are preparing. You're going to be stronger in numbers than being a lone wolf, that's for sure. Anything to say about that?
Perfect, man. I think that covered it all, man, other than lawyers, but yeah, everything.
So we'll leave it there. We're going to get some training in. Have a great weekend, and make sure you're doing something proactive this weekend, whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, or financial. And real quick, your channel.
Yeah, come check it out. Elias Ramirez III. ELIAS RAMIREZIII. Check it out on YouTube.
There you go.